In the heart of a vast, sun-drenched savanna, an enchanting scene unfolded. The golden grass swayed gently in the breeze, reflecting shades of yellow and brown, like a soft blanket spread across the land. Tall acacia trees dotted the horizon, their branches reaching out like welcoming arms. As the day began to fade, casting a warm, orange hue over everything, this peaceful setting became alive with sounds, chirping crickets, rustling leaves, and distant calls of wildlife. In this serene environment lived a wild lion named Leo. Unlike most lions known for their powerful roars and commanding presence, Leo was known for his gentle spirit. He often roamed the savanna alone, seeking solace amongst tall grasses and shady spots under the trees. If you enjoy this video, please like the video and subscribe for more, and tell me where you are watching from today. I always find it awesome to see where all my viewers are watching from. Let's get back to the video. His majestic mane flowed like a bushy curtain, and he was an imposing figure. But within him lay a heart that was kind and protective. This blissful realm took an unexpected turn one fateful evening, when a frightened little dog stumbled into Leo's territory. The dog was small and scruffy, with matted fur and wide eyes full of uncertainty. His name was Max, and he had wandered away from his home while chasing after an exciting scent. As night fell quickly over the savanna, Max realized he was lost. The shadows grew long around him as he searched for anything familiar, but found only darkness crowding in. As Max trotted cautiously through the tall grass, each sound around him seemed amplified. A rustle here, a snap there. Fear crept into his heart as he looked up at the vastness of the sky, now filled with twinkling stars. They felt so far away from home. Suddenly, he froze as he caught sight of a large shape moving towards him through the evening mist. Leo had been lounging peacefully under an old baobab tree when he noticed Max scurrying by. Intrigued by this small creature that seemed so out of place in his wild world, Leo's natural curiosity propelled him to investigate further. When they first locked eyes, both animals stood still, a moment suspended in time with tension running high. To Max's horror, he thought he'd come face to face with danger embodied in feline grace. After all, lions were hunters. But instead of approaching aggressively or baring sharp teeth at this unknown intruder, Leo regarded Max with mild interest. Max's heart raced as fear surged through him. Surely this lion would pounce at any moment. Expecting to run for his life, Max gave a little whimper instead of fleeing. But something about Leo's demeanor changed that tension. There was no sudden chase or roaring growl. Curiosity twinkled in Leo's eyes, as if he could sense that fear radiating from Max. He took a step closer, but did so slowly and carefully. It was crucial not to startle this little dog further. After all, even within his imposing size and strength, lay compassion for those weaker than himself. "What are you doing out here all alone?" Leo's gentle instincts nudged him, as if urging him to speak, though he knew dogs couldn't understand words as humans did. Max cautiously edged forward, but didn't dare to approach fully until he sensed no immediate threat hovering overhead. As darkness enveloped them both like a cozy blanket wrapped around its occupants, something monumental happened. Leo decided it was time to protect this lost little creature instead of pursuing his natural instincts to hunt. With each passing moment beneath the starry sky, sprinkled with hints of amber light from distant galaxies above them, a bond began to form between these two unlikely friends. One fierce yet nurturing protector, and one delicate soul searching for refuge against wildness beyond comprehension. Underneath that vast African sky resting firmly on their shoulders, The friendship forged amidst uncertainty lit up brighter than any constellation could promise about keeping safe during an anxious nightfall, filled with fears unforeseen. And so began the extraordinary tale where courage met vulnerability, a wild lion guarding a lost dog unexpectedly, already hinting at magic woven deep within life's unpredictable patterns under nature's protective, watchful eye. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with swirls of pink and orange, Max found himself in a world that felt strange and confining. Not too long ago, he had been sniffing out an intriguing scent in his backyard, where familiar sounds and places comforted him. His own home buzzed with laughter, the warm caress of sunlight, and the scent of his favorite treats lingering in the air. But curiosity got the best of him. Captivated by a fluttering butterfly, he had chased it through an open gate and into the vastness of the savannah. At first, everything had seemed exciting and new. The tall grass swirled around him like a playful wave, and colorful birds flitted overhead, singing their cheerful tunes. Max darted back and forth, enthralled by the sights and sounds of nature. He reveled in the fresh air and freedom, imagining himself a brave explorer embarking on a grand adventure. However, as time passed and the sun began to wane, excitement gave way to uncertainty. With each passing minute, Max's heart thudded quicker. The golden grass that had once seemed welcoming began to loom overhead, like towering giants. Shadows crept across the ground as daylight slipped away, transforming the once familiar landscape into something eerily unfamiliar. The cheerful chirps of birds turned into distant echoes, and rustling leaves whispered secrets he didn't understand. Max paused and looked around, his small stature now feeling insignificant against the expansive backdrop of endless earth and twilight sky. He took a few hesitant steps, but quickly realized he had wandered too far from where he had started. Panic washed over him like a cold wave. He was lost. The familiar backyard he once called home was nowhere in sight, replaced by tall grasses that swayed ominously in the night wind. As darkness enveloped him like a thick blanket, a wave of fear crashed over Max. The noises that had initially intrigued him were now unsettling. Each snap of a twig sounded like thunder in the silence that surrounded him. He whimpered softly, hoping someone would hear him. It was a sound filled with longing and despair. What would happen to him all alone out here under this vast canopy of stars? Max's mind raced with thoughts that danced between hope and hopelessness. Would someone come looking for him? Did his family know he was gone? Each sharp rustle in the grass made him jump. Every shadow seemed to hide something more frightening than he could comprehend. He imagined all sorts of fears. Would wild animals find him? Would he ever see his family again? He huddled close to the towering grasses for comfort, seeking shelter against nature's chill creeping through the night air. Max watched as the day faded into night, stars twinkling like tiny diamonds and providing faint light against his uncertainty. All around him lay a great unknown filled with potential dangers that gnawed at his heart. But just as fear threatened to swallow him whole, something deep within urged him to keep moving forward. With trembling paws but newfound courage, Max ventured into the darkness, searching for any sign of safety or familiarity. He padded through the crunching grass and fought against despair with each step, his little heart desperately wanting to find warmth or maybe even hope. As minutes turned into what felt like hours, Max continued to wander. Just when exhaustion began to seep into his bones and doubt clouded his vision, he caught sight of a shadow moving through the mist, a large shape that stirred both curiosity and dread in his little soul. Leo's entrance into this scene marked an unbelievable twist in fate for Max at just the right moment. The constant quest for belonging amid solitude was about to change completely in ways neither creature could have imagined. All the hopelessness from moments before met an unexpected force as safety arrived, cloaked in mystery. A protector with eyes full of kindness who understood what it felt like to be vulnerable. Their meeting set forth a cascade of events filled with courage and companionship. It was destined to redefine fear as something temporary, while forging friendship into something eternal, once they recognized their forever-bound destinies beneath that accommodating savanna sky. As the night deepened and shadows danced beneath the vast, starry sky, Leo lay stretched out beneath his favorite baobab tree, enjoying the cool breeze that rustled through his thick mane. His ears perked up at every sound, as a lion's instincts always kept him alert to the world around him. However, tonight felt different. Something was stirring in the air, a sense of unease that tugged at Leo's awareness. The gentle rustling of grass drew his attention, and he looked toward the source of the sound. Out of the tall golden blades emerged a small figure, and his heart skipped a beat when he realized it was Max, the lost dog he had seen earlier. The little animal appeared frail and frightened, his wide eyes glinting in the moonlight like two shiny marbles. Fear radiated off Max in waves, and every step he took looked hesitant, as if he were unsure about what awaited him just beyond the next patch of grass. Leo rose to his feet, instinctively intrigued yet cautious. The sight of Max stirred something deep within him, an urge to understand this little creature that seemed so out of place in the wild. Was he friend or foe? Here was a being who appeared so vulnerable compared to Leo's own powerful presence. As he observed Max struggling to compose himself amid such uncertainty, Leo's initial curiosity turned into protective concern. The moment their eyes met was electric. They stood frozen for a heartbeat, suspended in time as fear and apprehension filled the space between them. Max looked up at Leo with wide eyes that held both longing and trepidation. What would happen now? Would this great lion see him as prey, or perhaps something less threatening? Leo took a cautious step forward, careful not to startle Max further. His large paws pressed softly into the earth as he approached slowly, lowering himself slightly to appear less intimidating. He understood that fear could drive creatures to act unpredictably. Every instinct told him to be gentle and reassuring. To Leo's relief, instead of retreating further into panic, Max stood rigidly, but didn't run away. It was as if an unspoken connection formed between them in that brief moment, a silent understanding that neither wanted harm from the other. With curiosity burning brightly in his heart, Leo let out a low rumble, a sound meant to convey calm rather than danger. "It's all right," Leo seemed to whisper without using words, hoping Max could feel the kindness emanating from him. He tilted his head slightly, gazing at Max with soft eyes that reflected warmth instead of hostility. Max's body trembled slightly as uncertainty gripped him tightly. Could he trust this mighty creature? He remembered stories of wild animals told by his family, tales where lions were fierce hunters with sharp claws and teeth designed for capture. But here stood Leo, not advancing aggressively, but rather lingering in place with an aura that felt almost paternal. Taking a hesitant breath, Max lowered himself slightly, a gesture of submission rather than defiance, and stepped forward just enough to bridge the gap between them by a few inches. He sensed something profound in this lion's presence, a force unlike anything he had encountered before. Leo watched this brave little dog inch closer and felt admiration well up within him for Max's courage amidst such vulnerability. The wild lion decided then and there that he would not see this dog as prey, but rather as someone worthy of protection and companionship during this scary night. Just as an inexplicable bond began to take root between them under the silver glow of moonlight filtering through leaves overhead. An unexpected noise shattered their moment of quiet communion. A sudden rustle nearby disrupted their fragile tranquility. Instinctively alert, Leo's demeanor shifted instantly from calm observer to fierce protector. Every muscle tensed in preparation for whatever danger might lurk just beyond their sight. He positioned himself closer to Max, as if shielding him from unseen threats while scanning their surroundings for signs of trouble. Max's heart raced again, not out of fear alone, but also gratitude for having found such strength beside him at this critical moment. Little did they know that this encounter was only the beginning of an extraordinary journey together. One where courage emerged from vulnerability under nature's watchful eye. As Max stood in the eerie hush of the savannah, trembling from both fear and the sudden chill enveloping the night, Leo felt an undeniable sense of responsibility settle over him. Despite being one of nature's fiercest predators, Leo's heart swelled with a protective instinct that he couldn't ignore. There was something about this tiny dog that struck a chord deep within his soul. A feeling as if nature itself had woven their fates together at that very moment. With each rustle of grass around them, Leo's instincts sharpened. His acute senses picked up every sound, every movement, like an orchestra playing a symphony in the wild. He scanned their surroundings for threats, aware that danger could lurk just beyond the shadows. Yet, instead of thinking of hunting or pursuing prey, as his instincts would normally dictate, he thought only of keeping Max safe. Positioned defensively before the bewildered little dog, Leo took a commanding stance while remaining acutely aware of his body language. With a gentle lowering of his head and softening of his gaze, he communicated non-verbally. "You are safe with me." It was a delicate balance for Leo. He knew he was larger and could overpower Max easily if needed. Yet, in this moment, as they stood together under the dim light of the stars, his fierce exterior softened to reveal a nurturing side. Max glanced at Leo from behind quivering paws, uncertainty still coursing through him. He sensed the strength in the lion, but also felt warmth radiating from this mighty creature who now bore his protection like an invisible shield against the fears that haunted him. Even amidst darkness and trepidation, Max found himself drawn to Leo's calm presence, an anchor in a storm. Seeing Max's unease prompted Leo to take action. Instead of remaining tall and imposing, he lowered himself to the ground, becoming less intimidating while keeping watch over his new companion. The giant lion stretched out beside Max, creating a barrier between him and the unknown dangers of the night. The gesture spoke volumes. "You don't have to be afraid." As minutes turned into hours under the watchful blanket of stars above them, Leo remained vigilant by Max's side. For Leo, protecting this lost little creature felt like a duty he couldn't resist. The instinct to guard was innate within every lion. Yet in this case, it transcended mere territory or survival. He wanted nothing more than for Max to feel safe in a world that had turned upside down so quickly. At times when soft sounds would break through the night, the call of distant animals or leaves crackling in the dry breeze, Leo would shift slightly closer to Max, reassuringly bumping him with his shoulder or tail. Each gentle movement seemed to whisper assurances, as if saying, "I am here." It stunned him how those simple gestures produced such a calming effect on Max. In turn, as fear slowly ebbed away within Max's heart, he began to relax against Leo's sturdy form. What once seemed terrifying transformed into solace found within an unexpected friendship born from vulnerability. As they lay side by side beneath that expansive African sky, one fierce protector and one fragile soul, something magical blossomed between them amid uncertainty. While other creatures roamed freely around them, oblivious to their newfound connection, it wasn't just physical safety Leo provided. It was emotional comfort, too. For both animals, so starkly different yet similar in their essence, they discovered harmony in shared experience, navigating perilous territory together while darkness threatened to consume any light they might have once known alone. With every heartbeat resonating against this quiet backdrop throughout the savannah came growing confidence. Facing fears head-on became easier when bolstered by another's strength. Each time rustling leaves encroached on their vigil or unsettling sounds filled their ears. Together, they faced it all with unwavering resolve instead of surrendering to panic. This nurturing bond forged through adversity illuminated both their paths forward, and soon enough they would find courage amid chaos and discover lasting companionship beyond what either could have imagined possible under nature's watchful gaze. As the night rolled on, the wilderness came alive with sounds both familiar and strange. Leo remained vigilant by Max's side, his senses finely tuned to the symphony of the savannah around them. The croaking of frogs reverberated like tiny drums, while crickets chirped in a rhythmic cadence, creating a backdrop that mingled sweetly with the soft rustle of grass in the gentle breeze. Yet, underneath this soothing orchestra, there were moments when their world seemed laden with uncertainty. Max lay close to Leo, feeling the lion's warm body beside him serve as both a comfort and a fortress. The occasional gust of wind swept through the landscape, sending little shivers of anxiety through his small frame as it whispered secrets through the trees. In those moments, Max could feel his heart racing. Was something lurking just outside their patch of safety. Shadows danced along the edges of his vision, and every rustle became a source of unease. When a distant call pierced the stillness, a haunting sound echoing through the night, Max flinched and pressed against Leo tighter. It was only then Leo noticed how tense his new friend had become. The lion turned to Max, offering a reassuring nudge with his snout, which drew Max's eyes upward. "I'm here," he seemed to convey without words, simultaneously commanding and comforting in his presence. The night wore on. They faced more than just unsettling sounds. As Max grew accustomed to being beside Leo, he began to focus on their surroundings with keen curiosity. Eyes flickered as small creatures scurried about under cover of darkness. Bunnies hopping cautiously from one hiding spot to another, and owls silently gliding overhead with purpose. Each movement brought its own challenges. Every shadow could mean potential danger or simply the playful capers of wildlife settling down for the evening. Leo maintained his guard, eyes scanning throughout their territory as he listened closely for any sign of threat. He could hear the distant growls of hyenas laughing among themselves, a sound that sent chills down Max's spine, but only caused Leo's muscles to tense for action. To him, these noises were simply part of life in the wild. Yet he recognized how frightening they could be for a vulnerable pup like Max. In moments when the laughter escalated into frenetic calls, Leo rose to his feet, broad shoulders squared against any potential threat looming in the distance. He turned toward Max, softly nudging him once again to ensure he knew where safety resided. Together, they shared glances filled with unspoken understanding. Neither needed to say anything at all, but rather relied on instinct between them, a pact forged under the watchful starlit sky. Just as one heartbeat would settle back into calm, an unexpected rustling nearby sent both animals on high alert. Crouched low within the grass lay something stirring. Was it a deer passing by, or perhaps more sinister? With electric tension tingling in his paws, Leo moved closer to stand protectively before Max. His commanding silhouette loomed large, as if daring any creature from beyond their sanctuary in which to approach. But nothing materialized from among the shadows. Only silence rang loudly across open fields again as they resumed their watchful vigilance together, while comfortable tranquility enveloped them once more. Hours melted away under this enchanting night sky, where moonlight streamed like silver against their fur. The savannah wrapped around them like a protective cloak, holding them safe from harm. Every so often, when quiet, threats turned menacing or assurance felt far away. Leo's steady presence provided strength that helped Max conquer fleeting moments of fear and uncertainty. As the night deepened further into mystery, yet seemed inviting too. Their bond transformed into an unbreakable alliance, forged by reliance on one another's steadfast spirits amid unpredictability and darkness. With each challenge faced together, the wildness surrounding them gradually morphed from foreboding shadows into captivating shapes painted by moonlight, dancing upon grassy canvases, creating stories written exclusively for two unlikely companions drawn together by life's whims along this vast savannah under nature's ever-watchful eye. As the night deepened and shadows stretched across the savannah, Max began to feel a growing sense of safety in Leo's presence. The persistent sounds of the wild no longer felt daunting. Rather, they became a backdrop to a new experience he had not anticipated. The initial fear that had gripped him transformed into an awareness of the comfort that companionship could bring. Huddled close together under the radiant moonlight, Max leaned against Leo's sturdy frame. The warmth radiating from the lion enveloped him like a soft, protective blanket. Despite their differences in size and strength, they shared an intimacy that transcended the boundaries of species. Max dared to nuzzle his nose against Leo's side, a gesture that spoke volumes about his trust. It was a simple act, but to Max, it felt monumental. A silent thank you for the protection Leo offered. Leo felt a gentle warmth bloom in his chest at Max's tender gesture. He let out a soft rumble, not from hunger or dominance, but as a way to comfort his newfound friend. The sound reverberated through the still night air like soothing music, calming Max's frayed nerves. Recognizing that his growl was meant to soothe rather than scare, Max relaxed even further, closing his eyes in contentment. As they settled into a peaceful rhythm, Leo instinctively wrapped his large paw around Max, creating a reassurance of safety against the unpredictable night. The gentle pressure calmed Max significantly, further deepening their bond. With Leo's watchful gaze standing between him and danger, Max had the courage to explore new comforts. Like falling asleep nestled into the warmth of Leo's side, or playfully tugging at the wisps of grass around them with newfound energy. In moments when Max's courage sparked playful curiosity, he would wag his little tail and attempt to engage Leo in a gentle game of chase around their resting spot. Although their game was more a clumsy frolic rather than an actual hunt, laughter echoed in the silence of the vast savannah as Leo playfully swiped at Max with a gigantic paw while still keeping his strength in check. Their antics revealed another layer to their blossoming friendship, one where understanding and joy intertwined seamlessly. Max kept testing boundaries, inching closer to Leo's powerful jaws, curious yet cautious, then retreating with mock fright, as if engaging in playful banter. This back and forth brought bouts of laughter between them that were entirely new to both creatures of nature. Each time Max ventured forward and Leo let out soft purrs of approval, they solidified the bond that had begun to materialize. The fearless protection of an unlikely guardian and the appreciative spirit of a small dog finding solace. As the hours unfurled like threads in a soft fabric woven beneath the watchful stars, They exchanged quiet moments of reflection. There were times when Max would lie still beside Leo, gazing up at the vast sky sparkling above them. In those moments of serenity, he would take solace in knowing this gentle giant was close by. What began as trepidation had subtly morphed into gratitude for companionship. Leo shared steadfast observance. He would watch Max drift into slumber while allowing himself brief moments of rest. His eyes would sweep across their surroundings periodically, each flicker of sound driving him to rise and protect against potential threats lurking just beyond their sanctuary. Yet every time his watchful gaze fell upon Max's tranquil form, contentment washed over him anew, a reminder that he was fulfilling his role as protector and friend. As dawn approached, hinting at the first shades of light creeping across the horizon, something magical transpired. They found themselves nestled tightly together under the silver hues cast by moonlight, waning into dawn's embrace. In those quiet moments, shared between distant calls and rustling leaves, trust cemented itself as an anchor in their relationship. What might have once seemed impossible now felt utterly natural. Together, they had faced fears, uncertainties, and challenges, their spirits intertwining through shared experiences against adversity. Their friendship had blossomed among shadows and whispers amidst nature's own uncertainties. The perfect testament to how love can flourish against all odds beneath an expansive sky filled with dreams waiting to unfold. As the first hints of dawn began to color the horizon, a sudden commotion erupted in the stillness of the savannah. Max and Leo were nestled close together, their bond strong from the shared experiences of the night. When an unsettling noise pierced through the calm, an aggressive growl echoed across the plains, sending a chill down Max's spine. Instinctively, Leo's body tensed, muscles rippling beneath his fur as he stood up with a commanding presence. His sharp eyes scanned the surroundings, alert to any signs of danger. Just moments before, the world had felt serene. Now it was electric with tension as Leo's protective instincts kicked into high gear. The growl was unmistakably that of a predator lurking nearby, a threat not only to Max, but also to their newfound friendship. Max's heart raced as he pressed against Leo's side, instinctively seeking comfort from his fierce protector. "Stay close." Leo seemed to communicate with a low rumble emanating from deep within his chest, which echoed through the air like an unspoken promise that everything would be all right. Suddenly, from behind a cluster of tall grass emerged a pair of glowing eyes, hungry and predatory. A hyena stepped into view, its jagged teeth reflecting the soft light of dawn as it prowled closer. With each deliberate step it took toward them, Max felt fear grip him once again. He had heard stories of these cunning creatures and their menacing laughter. But Leo stood firm, his imposing figure blocking Max from view as he faced down this unexpected threat. The lion's mane bristled in response to the challenge ahead. There was no hesitation in his stance or in the fierce glint in his eyes that warned the hyena to back off. The air crackled with energy as Leo let out a powerful roar that reverberated across the savannah, a sound filled with authority and warning, meant to send any potential danger scurrying away. The hyena hesitated for just a moment. It could sense that this lion was not one to be trifled with lightly. Yet its hunger drove it forward. After all, a small dog alone in the wild might seem like an easy target. It lunged toward Max with a feral snarl. In an instant reaction born from both instinct and newfound courage, Leo sprang into action. With lightning speed and agility that belied his size, he leapt forward between Max and the encroaching danger. The clash was thunderous. Leo's powerful paws struck against the ground with purpose as he landed squarely in front of Max. With fierce determination shining like fire in his eyes, Leo bared his teeth at the hyena while swiping one massive paw through the air before him. A warning sign filled with both power and grace. "You will not harm him," resonated within every growl that escaped his throat. The hyena reeled back momentarily, surprised by such bold defiance from what it had assumed would be little more than an intimidating presence without bite. It circled cautiously around them, but remained out of reach. Leo's strong stance had clearly sent an unmistakable message. This territory belonged to him now, and so did Max. As they stood locked in this tense standoff, under pale morning light filtering through scattered clouds above, the bond forged during their night together became even more apparent. In this moment where danger lurked just beyond their grasp, Max felt empowered by knowing that he wasn't alone anymore. There was strength beside him, willing to fight for their safety. Leo continued to assert dominance over their territory, while keeping an eye on Max, who remained firmly positioned behind him. Courage sparked within those small paws as they found solace against such overwhelming odds, due solely to companionship built upon trust, forged through adversity. Finally realizing this battle wouldn't be won easily, the hyena turned tail and fled back into shadows among tall grasses where it belonged, defeated by loyalty stronger than mere hunger. The tension slowly ebbed once more as silence returned to envelop them like a warm embrace. A testament not only to survival, but also proof positive that bonds created amidst challenges could withstand anything life threw at them. Breathless but victorious. Leo turned back toward Max, who gazed up at him wide-eyed, yet filled with gratitude for what had just transpired. Their connection solidified further by overcoming fear together. What began as simple companionship evolved into something far richer. A friendship bound tightly by loyalty under nature's watchful gaze. As the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, the savannah transformed before Max and Leo's eyes. The sky, once a deep shade of indigo, now glowed with vibrant streaks of amber and peach, indicating the sun's slow ascent. A gentle warmth began to wash over the land, coaxing the nocturnal creatures back to their hidden homes while awakening others who embraced the new day. The soft light filtered through the tall grasses and kissed Leo's golden mane, igniting it like spun gold against the backdrop of an orange sky. Max blinked sleepily as he watched the scene unfold around him, feeling a sense of awe wash over him. He had never experienced anything quite like this before. Not after a night filled with uncertainty and fear. But here he was, nestled safely against his faithful protector, although only hours ago they had faced danger together. Fear had been successfully replaced by a comforting tranquility. Max took a moment to soak in the beauty surrounding them. But it wasn't just the landscape that had changed. Their relationship had morphed too, infusing their connection with undeniable strength and warmth. As the sun continued its ascent, rays of sunlight cascaded over everything in sight. The colorful palette revealing the intricate details of flowers blooming amidst the grasses, and tiny creatures stirring awake from slumber to join nature's chorus. Birds burst into song atop acacia trees, filling the air with melodies that felt jubilant, a harmony celebrating life returning to normal. Max couldn't help but feel grateful for Leo's presence beside him. For all his fierce reputation as king of the jungle, he revealed his gentler side whenever they were together. As sunlight illuminated them both, the lion and dog silently sharing this extraordinary landscape, it became increasingly clear how unconventional their friendship truly was. Here stood a powerful lion next to a small dog who, just hours before, knew little more than anxiety and fear. Yet now, They were allies forged through shared vulnerabilities. Feeling brave in the warmth enveloping him, Max shifted slightly against Leo's side and licked the lion's cheek affectionately. It was his way of expressing thanks for a night unlike any other. The wild tumult giving way to moments of camaraderie and safety grain by precious grain. Leo turned his head slightly at this unexpected gesture. Warmth blossomed within him, recognizing Max's grateful heart so vividly expressed. With an affectionate sparkle in his eyes, brighter than any diamond, he nudged back playfully, urging Max to rise from their resting spot fully awake as they both prepared to greet this beautiful new day. The soft glow danced across Leo's magnificent body as he stood tall amidst blooming grasslands, organizing thoughts, already anticipating what lay ahead. Together, they set off cautiously into this newfound territory. For it was no longer about surviving under cover of darkness alone. Instead, it held promise steeped in friendship, ignited throughout their watchful night. With each step taken through dew-laden blades, freshened by morning's kiss, a sense of excitement rippled through Max. This expansive savanna felt different now. It was not only vast, but filled with hope ahead. There were boundless horizons inviting exploration, waiting beyond each bend or bush, a canvas begging for adventure. Side by side they walked on, their paths intertwined and growing brighter beneath luminous skies, symbolizing blossoming bonds, surfacing from deeper understanding, nurtured throughout trials faced at every turn during shadowed hours borne away by illuminating dawn. In witnessing how fragile beginnings could flourish into astonishing connections. Max realized true companionship lay beyond mere survival instincts, learned along threads intertwined throughout long voyages ahead. There was strength found not only within Lion's fierce protection, but also through shared laughter dressing everyday being alive. The irony held within stages traversed hand in paw, more meaningful than conventional legends told among wilds ahead. As they journeyed deeper into uncharted realms presented by radiant morning light, Max felt remarkably valiant, fueled collectively alongside steadfast guidance, watchful every step, in moments rich with bravery, drawn from hearts harmonized forevermore under nature's expansive embrace. Each stride echoed permissions granted that anything was indeed possible, no longer confined by circumstance alone, but stepping together, forging tales anew, hand in paw, amid golden reflections, lifting spirits together towards endless possibilities, shining from horizons, waiting. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, casting a warm glow over the savanna, Max and Leo set out together down a well-trodden path. Although the world around them was vibrant and full of life, Max felt a bittersweet tug in his heart as he realized that their time together was drawing to a close. They had shared an unforgettable night filled with adventure, courage, and camaraderie. But now it was time for him to return home. Leo watched as Max trotted alongside him, his tiny legs working hard to keep up with the lion's powerful strides. Despite feeling a sense of duty toward helping Max find his way back, Leo sensed the weight of this goodbye hanging in the air. He could see how much Max had grown since he first encountered him in fear and confusion. Now, he moved with newfound confidence and purpose. Their journey led them through stretches of golden grasses that swayed softly in the gentle breeze, dotted with wildflowers that painted the landscape in bursts of color. As they walked, Max paused occasionally to sniff at interesting scents along the trail, or to admire butterflies flitting nearby. With each step, Leo remained vigilant as ever. His fierce yet tender nature ensured that Max felt safe amidst the beauty surrounding them. After traveling for some time, they reached a familiar area. The outline of Max's home appeared on the horizon. Joy bubbled within him as he recognized the clusters of trees and shrubs that marked the boundary of his family's yard. But along with that joy came an overwhelming emotion. He would soon be saying farewell to Leo, his brave protector. Max looked up at Leo with wide eyes filled with gratitude, not quite knowing how to express his appreciation for the lion's unwavering support through the night. "I wouldn't have made it without you," he seemed to communicate silently. The bond they had forged had transformed from one of necessity into something genuinely heartfelt, an alliance between a fierce guardian and an anxious pup who now understood what it meant to feel safe. As they approached the familiar threshold leading back into Max's yard, Leo slowed his pace momentarily. He turned toward Max and lowered his massive head closer to meet him at eye level, a gesture that conveyed both authority and affection. "Always remember," Leo rumbled softly, his voice resonating like distant thunder. "You are braver than you think. No matter where you go from here, hold on to that courage." In those words lay both guidance and reassurance, the true essence of their bond shining through. Max nodded solemnly, feeling tears start to sting at the corners of his eyes. He didn't want this adventure to end. He had found not just safety beside Leo, but unconditional support and affection he never anticipated from a creature so different from himself. Gathering his breath for what would be difficult words to say next, Max leaned forward one last time, to lick Leo's cheek tenderly and then nuzzle against it like an affectionate embrace shared among friends parting ways. "Thank you for everything," he finally mustered quietly. The lion lifted his head proudly with warmth reflected in his golden gaze, leaving no room for misunderstanding how special this connection was and how deeply impressed he was by Max's growth throughout this journey. With instincts sharpened by experience faced together, they had cultivated traits embodied beyond mere companionability. They were now kindred spirits, connected by loyalty under stars, witnessed firsthand through trials faced head-on. "Until we meet again," Leo said gently before withdrawing slightly, a final protective glance thrown back over his shoulder as he prepared to retreat into wilds once more, just outside marked hedges separating their lives ahead. With a heavy heart but emboldened spirit nestled close beneath thick brambles arched beautifully overhead. Even as daylight brightened further along roads traveled, this newfound friendship resonated so dearly deep inside, both creatures long after footprints faded behind them, trailing through grass like whispers woven into fibers-laden rich contexts, clinging forevermore alive. Max bounded forward into familiar arms, waiting eagerly amid household sounds, warm hugs beckoning like prompts, signaling safety regained surrounding cherished love, singing laughter echoing skyward spreading joy, known only between those having learned essential truths together. This emotional parting left behind unmistakable marks, lingering reminders spread wide across open fields, reminding all who bore witness, tall legends, defining lives, intertwined, forging timeless connections, drawing strength onward, guided by hearts mingling harmoniously amongst wild landscapes kissed by morning light. In the days following Max's safe return home, whispers of the incredible story began to spread throughout the nearby village. The townspeople were astonished, unable to fathom how a fierce lion had protected a lost dog during a dark night filled with danger. Children gathered in small groups, animatedly recounting tales that quickly morphed into legends about Leo, the gentle lion who had become an unexpected hero. Families in the village couldn't help but share their disbelief as they learned of Leo's actions. News of the lion's protective nature spread like wildfire, igniting curiosity and admiration. "A lion guarding a dog?" one villager exclaimed, shaking his head in wonder. It goes against everything we know about these creatures." His eyes sparkled with awe as he spoke, picturing the unlikely duo that had formed under the stars. One morning, as people gathered at the market, discussions bubbled up about how Leo's behavior showcased a different side of wild animals, a side that was nurturing and compassionate. "Perhaps we've misjudged them all along," an elderly woman mused, her voice soft yet firm. "This lion teaches us that strength isn't just about power. It's also about protecting those who need it most." Meanwhile, Max's family watched as their little dog transformed before their eyes. No longer the timid pup who had wandered away, Max returned full of confidence and stories to tell. He shared his experiences with his family, recounting how Leo had shielded him from danger and provided comfort amid uncertainty. Each retelling drew gasps of disbelief and cheers from his siblings, who hung on every word. Max's mother listened intently as he described Leo's bravery. She looked at her son with pride, realizing that he had learned valuable lessons during his adventure about friendship, courage, and trust. "You've grown so much, Max," she said softly, her eyes shining with love. "I'm proud of you for finding your way back and for the bond you formed with that lion." As word spread throughout the village, many became curious about Leo himself. Some villagers ventured closer to the savannah, hoping to catch a glimpse of the gentle giant who had guarded Max so fiercely. They often stood at a distance, observing him lounging peacefully under the shade of an acacia tree or watching wildlife pass by. Although there was some initial apprehension due to his presence, the awe-inspiring sight of Leo soon transformed their fear into respect. Over time, small gatherings began to form near the savannah's edge, where villagers would come together to share stories and marvel at nature's wonder. Children laughed and played nearby, while their parents spoke softly about how Leo had defied expectations. They recognized that he was not just a wild beast, but also a protector with a heart capable of kindness. One afternoon, a group of villagers decided to leave food offerings for Leo, a small gesture meant to express their gratitude for his caring nature. They placed fruits and scraps near the edge of the savannah, hoping he would come closer. To their astonishment, they soon spotted him approaching curiously, sniffing at the colorful bounty laid out for him. Max visited often, too. He would bound toward Leo with excitement each time he arrived at the edge of his yard. The lion welcomed him with gentle nudges and playful swipes that sent Max tumbling over in laughter, just like old friends would do. Their bond was undeniable. As each day passed, it seemed to grow stronger even amidst distance separating them by human boundaries. The villagers shared anecdotes about Leo's extraordinary kindness with neighboring towns, weaving tales into the fabric of folklore that would be passed down through generations. As whispers turned into laughter, echoing across landscapes filled with vibrant colors. The legacy of this unlikely friendship blossomed in ways few could have ever predicted. Through their community reactions, a blend of fascination and respect, Leo became a symbol of unexpected compassion, a reminder that strength exists not only in dominance, but also in protecting those who are vulnerable. The villagers learned valuable lessons from this encounter. Courage could emerge from vulnerability, friendship could form across differences, and love could flourish even in the most unexpected places. As seasons changed and days flowed into one another, the bond between Max and Leo remained etched within hearts. An enduring tale of loyalty under skies, painted anew by every sunrise, greeting horizons yet unexplored. As time went on, the story of Max and Leo became more than just a tale shared among the villagers. It transformed into a powerful lesson about friendship, bravery, and love found in unexpected places. people began to reflect on how their perceptions of strength and protection had shifted. Leo, the once feared lion, had shown them that true bravery wasn't only about might, but also about compassion, understanding, and the willingness to stand up for those who are vulnerable. Max's journey through the savannah reminded everyone that even in moments of fear and uncertainty, courage could blossom from deep connections. It didn't matter how different one might be from another. True friendship knew no bounds. The bond that formed between a wild lion and a small dog exemplified how love could transcend instincts and preconceived notions, illuminating the beauty found in embracing diversity. The village, once filled with whispers of danger surrounding lions, now resonated with stories praising Leo's kindness. Children created drawings depicting their heroic lion friend beside Max, celebrating the powerful friendship that had emerged from an unlikely circumstance. These illustrations decorated homes and schools, serving as constant reminders of what it meant to be brave and loving. Elderly villagers often gathered to recount the events of that fateful night when Max had wandered too far from home. They spoke of how Leo guarded the lost dog with unwavering dedication and how he roared fiercely to protect him from the threats lurking around them. Their words carried weight. It became clear that this story wasn't simply about a lion saving a dog, but rather about understanding and changing perspectives on all creatures. Recognizing that heroes could come in unexpected forms, Max continued to visit Leo regularly. Each encounter served as a celebration of their friendship and an affirmation of the lessons learned. On sunny afternoons, Max would run out to the savannah, where he'd find Leo relaxing under his favorite acacia tree, basking in the warm sunlight. With each visit, they would engage in playful antics reminiscent of their first joyful moments together. A dance of trust and safety that no longer needed words. Through their bond, both creatures flourished. Max gained assurance knowing he had a friend who would always have his back, while Leo embraced a softer side he hadn't known existed within him. Each visit strengthened their connection further, transforming their unique friendship into something legendary, echoing across the savannah beyond their own hearts. As seasons changed, everything around them mirrored their growth. Flowers bloomed brighter under radiant skies. Every sunrise heralded new beginnings, filled with hope and excitement for what lay ahead. The essence of Max and Leo's friendship encouraged villagers to form their own connections rooted in kindness and understanding, teaching them that every act of love creates ripples throughout the community. The villagers learned to appreciate those around them, no matter how different they appeared. They extended warmth beyond their circles, inviting others into experiences full of laughter and trust. Over time, these small gestures blossomed into a wider sense of community spirit, one bound not by fear, but by empathy toward all living beings. Through Max's bravery in reaching out to a lion who had once seemed like an adversary, and through Leo's commitment to protect his tiny companion, the village transformed forevermore. No longer did they fear the wilderness. Instead, they celebrated its complexity and beauty. Ultimately, the morale of this profound tale became clear. Friendships can flourish in the most unlikely circumstances when nurtured with trust and courage. Whether between a lion and a dog or within communities comprised of diverse individuals, love can bridge gaps and break down barriers, revealing that strength lies not just in power, but also in compassion. As stars twinkled over an expansive sky painted with fading light each night, the legacy of Max and Leo's extraordinary bond continued to inspire all who heard their story. A timeless reminder that true friendship knows no limits, transcending all boundaries set by nature itself.